Zuma was not only the head of state, he was also the head of a large polygamous family rooted in Zulu tradition. Inside his Nkandla residence lived multiple wives, each with her own status, children, expectations, and influence. In such a structure, hierarchy mattered deeply, but so did visibility. A public appearance beside the president could signal trust. An absence could spark speculation. A rumor could destabilize carefully maintained balance. This is the story of a household built on tradition, a political ecosystem where loyalty, rivalry, and ambition coexisted under the same roof as national authority. Let's uncover what truly unfolded inside Jacob Zuma's presidential household, only on Empire Elegance. When Jacob Zuma assumed office in 2009, he did so after years of political turbulence. His rise within the African National Congress had been marked by fierce battles, corruption allegations, and support from constituencies that saw him as a defender of traditional values. From the very beginning, his presidency carried both deep loyalty and intense skepticism. Unlike most modern heads of state, Zuma openly practiced polygamy. South African law recognizes polygamous marriages, and Zuma frequently defended his lifestyle as an authentic expression of Zulu culture. However, once he occupied the highest political office, his household ceased to be private. Each wife became part of the symbolic architecture of the presidency. Nkandla, his rural homestead in KwaZulu-Natal, evolved into a powerful symbol. Supporters viewed it as a cultural sanctuary reflecting his roots. Critics viewed it as a site of excessive state spending after public funds were used for upgrades that later became the subject of a constitutional court ruling. Within those guarded gates, however, another reality existed. Multiple households operated simultaneously, connected by one man whose decisions affected an entire nation. In such an environment, domestic dynamics could never remain isolated from politics. Among the women connected to Zuma's life, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma stood apart because she was never defined solely by marriage. Trained as a medical doctor and forged in the anti-apartheid struggle, she developed a formidable political career that extended far beyond her relationship with Zuma. After their divorce in 1998, she continued rising through the ranks of government, eventually becoming chairperson of the African Union Commission. Her independent stature created a rare dynamic. Although she was no longer part of Zuma's domestic structure during his presidency, she remained one of the most powerful figures in South African politics. At one point, she contested for leadership, positioning herself as a potential successor to Zuma. This overlap between personal history and political ambition fueled speculation. Some observers believed she represented continuity within Zuma's broader political network. Others argued that she embodied an alternative center of authority. Regardless of interpretation, her influence demonstrated that proximity to Zuma did not necessarily mean dependency. In many ways, she rivaled him in political gravitas. During Zuma's presidency, Thobeka Madiba Zuma frequently appeared at his side during official engagements. In the absence of a singular first lady, she often assumed that visible role. Her presence at diplomatic receptions and ceremonial occasions projected an image of stability. However, in a polygamous presidential household, visibility carried deeper meaning. Every appearance beside the president could be interpreted as a sign of favor. In traditional Zulu hierarchy, seniority among wives determines authority within the family. Yet, in a modern political context, media coverage could reshape perceptions of hierarchy. If one wife accompanied Zuma on an international trip, while another remained unseen, commentators would inevitably speculate. In this way, protocol became a quiet arena of competition. Even if open conflict was avoided, the structure itself encouraged comparison. Maintaining equilibrium required careful management, because imbalance could generate both personal resentment and public narrative. The most explosive rupture within the household involved Nompumelelo Ntuli Zuma, widely known as Mantuli. Allegations surfaced that she had been involved in a poisoning plot and had engaged in an affair with a bodyguard. The accusations were dramatic and quickly escalated into national headlines. Montuli denied wrongdoing, and legal proceedings followed. Nevertheless, the episode shattered any illusion of harmony within Nkandla. In a polygamous structure built on trust and defined roles, allegations of betrayal carried enormous weight. For Zuma's critics, the scandal symbolized dysfunction. For his supporters, it represented either a personal dispute amplified by political opponents or a case of internal family conflict made public. Yet regardless of perspective, the event demonstrated how fragile the balance had become. Private turmoil had become inseparable from public leadership. Jacob Zuma fathered more than 20 children. In traditional contexts, children represent lineage and continuity. Within a presidential household, they also represent potential influence. Access to elite networks, business opportunities, and political circles can shape futures long after a presidency ends. Some of Zuma's children became involved in business and politics. Others attracted media attention through controversy. Although South Africa does not function as a hereditary system, public perception often connects political families to enduring influence. Inside Nkandla, the position of each wife was inevitably tied to the visibility and perceived success of her children. Public acknowledgement of one branch of the family could be interpreted as a shift in internal hierarchy. In this way, competition extended beyond marital relationships and into the realm of legacy. Even without formal succession, the idea of influence passing through generations remained powerful. Zuma consistently defended his marriages as an affirmation of African tradition. He argued that polygamy should not be judged through Western cultural lenses. Many citizens agreed, emphasizing the importance of protecting customary law in a diverse democracy. However, critics questioned the financial and symbolic implications. The Nkandla upgrades intensified concerns about blurred lines between private life and public funds. In such a climate, the president's household became part of broader debates about accountability. The wives themselves lived at the intersection of these tensions. They were participants in cultural heritage and figures within international diplomacy. Every public appearance was scrutinized. Every rumor carried political consequences. Maintaining unity under such conditions required more than personal resilience. It required strategic awareness of optics and perception. What made Jacob Zuma's household uniquely volatile was not simply the number of wives, but the structure of separation within unity. Each wife maintained her own residence within Nkandla. Each managed her own children. Each oversaw her own domestic sphere. On paper, this arrangement respected tradition and hierarchy. In reality, it created parallel power centers operating under one patriarch. Former insiders and media observers often suggested that access to Zuma was itself a form of leverage. In a presidency already strained by battles within the African National Congress, the voices he heard most frequently in his private space could subtly influence his outlook. While there is no direct evidence that any wife dictated political decisions, proximity always matters in leadership psychology. The wives were not merely reacting to one another, they were responding to national scrutiny. South African media tracked appearances and controversies closely. International outlets often portrayed the household as emblematic of Zuma's unconventional presidency. Under such pressure, unity required extraordinary discipline. At the same time, political allies and opponents watched carefully. In a leadership climate defined by factionalism, any hint of instability could be weaponized. If rumors of internal conflict emerged, critics amplified them as evidence that Zuma's control was weakening. The domestic sphere became symbolic terrain in broader political warfare. What unfolded inside Nkandla was therefore not a dramatic soap opera of constant confrontation. It was something more subtle and, in many ways, more intense. It was a sustained effort to maintain equilibrium in an environment where hierarchy, affection, status, and national power intersected daily. This silent war did not always produce headlines. but it shaped perception. It reinforced narratives among critics who argued that Zuma's presidency blurred the line between private life and state authority. It also strengthened the loyalty of supporters who believed he was unapologetically authentic in his traditions. In the end, the wives who lived within Nkandla were navigating more than marriage. They were navigating proximity to executive authority under relentless scrutiny. Every movement, every rumor, and every public appearance existed within a charged political atmosphere, and that atmosphere ensured that even silence could become a form of power. By 2018, mounting pressure from within the ANC and escalating corruption investigations forced Jacob Zuma to resign. His presidency ended not with celebration, but with division. Nkandla remained his home, but it was no longer the epicenter of state power. The wives stepped away from presidential visibility. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma continued serving in government roles. Tobeka Madiba Zuma withdrew from intense public exposure. Nompumelelo and Tuli Zuma remained associated with past controversy in public memory. The battles inside the household faded from daily headlines, but their imprint remained part of Zuma's broader legacy. The story of Jacob Zuma's presidential household is not merely about polygamy. It is about how personal structures intersect with national leadership. When a president's domestic life becomes intertwined with governance, every internal shift acquires symbolic weight. Nkandla was more than a residence. It was a living representation of hierarchy, ambition, loyalty, and rivalry under the shadow of executive authority. The wives who navigated that environment were not passive figures. They operated within a system where proximity to power shaped perception and opportunity. In the end, the most revealing aspect of Zuma's household may be this: power does not stop at the gates of home. It reshapes relationships, intensifies competition, and magnifies conflict. What unfolded inside Nkandla offers a rare glimpse into how tradition and modern politics collide when both exist under one roof. Behind every presidency lies a hidden world of influence and negotiation, and sometimes the most important battles never reach Parliament because they are fought quietly at home. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Empire Elegance and hit the notification bell for more powerful stories about the lives and legacies of the world's most influential figures. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.